Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Tier List Tuesday. So for this week, we're going to be doing the Johto Pokemon Generation 2. And we took a couple weeks off from Pokemon. We did the short SpongeBob one and a One Piece one, but now we're back. And I got a new webcam, or I didn't get a new one. I found an old one that was still boxed up in my tech pile. So hopefully it fixes the blurring problem from the previous videos. And we have our usual tiers, S through F. And I want to make this in sort of a way that is comparable to the Kanto tier list, the Generation 1 Pokemon. So what you can do is kind of look at those two videos side by side and see what I think about each generation as a whole, right? So just like last time, we're starting off with the starters. And I must admit, I think that this group of starters is maybe the weakest of at least the first four generations, right? Gen 3 and 4 just have such strong starters. It's crazy. These, however, are a little underwhelming in my opinion, and there, in my opinion, are some real stinkers in the bunch, right? And starting off with a real stinker, we have Chikorita. Chikorita's design doesn't really do anything for me. I don't really think it's that cute. It's almost a little uncanny valley, honestly, with the eyes, right? Kind of giving me a weird look, I won't lie. And I don't know if you've seen the video. I know it has a lot of views, but there's this mildly disturbing video of a Chikorita being prepared on a cooking table, which is a little horrifying. But all of these things combined make Chikorita a Pokemon that I am not really a fan of at all. So not necessarily the worst of the worst, but I'm going to give him a D tier. I just don't really like him. And if you remember from the first tier list, I put all 9 starter Pokemon in A tier. So that kind of shows you that I really do not think very fondly of Chikorita. Now, Bayleaf, on the other hand, I am actually a really big fan of. I think that this is a rare example of the middle evolution being by far the strongest in the line. I love the leaf. I love the sort of like sharp edge that it has. It kind of looks like a blade. And I think that it just really works as sort of like a middle of the road Pokemon. I know that there's the Bayleaf that was like obsessed with Ash, right? Maybe that gives it some points. I don't know. And it does kind of step out of the uncanny valley that Chikorita is in. And for that, I'm going to give Bayleaf an A tier. I really like their design a lot. I think that they are, alongside one other, the best designed Pokemon of these 9. Meganium is one that I consider to be sort of almost missed potential, or like just really disappointing, because Bayleaf looks so good. I can, even in my head right now, picture like a very cool third evolution with like a bigger leaf on the head and looking a little bit more aggressive. But maybe that wasn't the point, because Meganium is like a very sort of calmer and sort of that kind of vibe, grass type Pokemon, right? But I like the flower, and that's about the one thing I like, right? They took the leaf off and they added these little antennae that just looks not very good. And I was doing a Heart Gold Nuzlocke, Heart Gold or Soul Silver, randomized a few years ago. And I remember I managed to actually get a Meganium. I think I had a Chikorita and I leveled it up. And I remember it being a really strong poison setter for battles. And that was a really nice application for Meganium. But that's just about the only thing that I can say that I like about it, that I have like a good experience with. So I'm going to put Meganium in C tier just for that one sort of positive experience I had with them. And also their design is a little bit better than Chikorita. So I got Heart Gold and Soul Silver on launch when I was 10 years old. What Pokemon did I pick? I picked Cyndaquil. And ever since then, when I've played the vanilla games, I've always picked Cyndaquil. I am not like super duper fond of any of the 3, but I think Cyndaquil is just, they're all right. With that being said, though, Cyndaquil themselves is a Pokemon that I'm honestly not really that fond of either. They're sort of like nubile design with their like shut eye and stuff. They look like a baby, like a real baby. And I don't really think they're that cute. I don't really feel that strongly about them. And I'm going to give Cyndaquil a C tier above Meganium. Once again, this is really showing that I prefer the Gen 1 starters. Although, I would say that Quilava is actually the one other Pokemon amongst these 9 that actually has a really strong design. I think that it is sort of like the perfect balance of like size. It looks very agile, right? Which I really like. And it kind of loses the long snout, which I think is to its benefit. And I also really like the sprite for it in Heart Gold Soul Silver. So I think for the strong design and the fact that it, once again, it's kind of a rare, really good middle evolution, I'm going to also put it with Bayleaf. Probably behind Bayleaf just a little bit. I like Bayleaf's design, you know? And I think that one Pokemon episode where the Bayleaf likes Ash maybe gives it some points, but that's okay, right? So we have Typhlosion. And Typhlosion, you know, ever since I was a kid, was going to be a member of my team, right? It's interesting that as I've gotten older and I've replayed these games, I actually tend to not even use starters. I usually try to get something really early on that kind of acts as my starter, right? But I have a long history with Typhlosion, right? They've carried me up the mountain to see red at least a couple times, so I have to give it some love. But with that being said, I do think it is another disappointing final evolution in the sense that he just kind of gets big, right? He just kind of gets chunky. And I don't really think that's bad, but it feels like missed potential. It really does feel like missed potential. So I'm going to put Typhlosion in B tier. I think that's a good spot for them. I don't dislike them, but at the same time, I just kind of feel like, you know, not super strongly about them either. So the Totodile line is one that I've never really used. However, I recently completed a platinum randomized Nuzlocke, and that has been one that has always eluded me. I'd never been able to do it, but I actually had a Feraligatr that hard carried the Elite Four for me. So that's going to give Feraligatr some points. But these other 2 are not the best, right? We've got Totodile, who, you know, I don't dislike them necessarily. They're like a cute little blue gator, and he looks all feisty, right? He's like stomping. He's okay. I'm going to put him in C tier right here. They're just okay, right? I think it's a pretty good design, but maybe it's just one that I'm not really like subjectively partial to. Croconaw is, in my opinion, the worst design of the 9 Pokemon. I don't like its like egg pattern that it has on its body. It looks like it's wearing like a weird shirt or like a, you know, like a loincloth of some kind, like a caveman would wear, or it's like coming out of an egg. It just looks a bit weird, you know? And something about its design I just really don't like. And for that, I'm going to give it a D tier behind Chikorita. So as I mentioned, Feraligatr, I have recency bias big time with Feraligatr. I used them on my team, and they, in that Platinum Nuzlocke, and they did the work for me, right? Even more than a Darkrai that I had. Like I had Darkrai, but Feraligatr was just putting in the work big time. I think they're okay, you know. Their design is cool. They're very aggressive, and I'm used to facing one when I have Typhlosion against Silver in the final battle, and that's always like kind of a test, right? But with all those things being said, I'm just going to give it a B tier behind Typhlosion. I think that's a good spot for it. So with the starters done, we can now see that we have a much more even distribution from A to D, right? Which I think is very interesting for starters. Usually, like we saw in the Gen 1, they're usually all very high because they, have extra good designs, right? But not in this case. So Sentret and Furret are, the early game, like you catch them on the first couple routes, right? Can you call them the regional rat? I'm not really sure, but just for the sake of it, we will. And they're pretty cute, Sentret, not so much, but Furret absolutely is very cute. I think I'm going to do D tier, highest D for Sentret, and like that. I think that's good. Because I think Furret is actually really cute, and that sort of carries this placement alone. I've never used one. I can't really see a reason why you ever would use one unless you just wanted a really cute team. But that's how it is, right? And Sentret, I don't know. Not too cute for me. Not cute enough to warrant higher than D tier. Hoot Hoot and Noctowl are the regional birds, and I really don't like Hoot Hoot. I think Hoot Hoot, it's very annoying when I'm playing at night on my actual DS, and you just keep running into Hoot Hoots, and their design is not the best. Like, the eyes thing are kind of cool, but I overall just think it's kind of ugly. I won't even lie. I'm going to put Hoot Hoot, like, here. No, above Chikorita. And I'm going to, kind of similar to Furret, I think that Noctowl is better, and I actually think I like Noctowl quite a bit. Not quite a bit, but just a good bit more than Hoot Hoot, so I'm going to give them top of C tier. I think that's probably good. They're pretty strong. I think I've maybe used them once or twice, but maybe just as a flyer. I can't really remember. So we've got Ledybah and Ledian, and contrary to another bug type that we're going to get to, I don't really like these two very much. I actually like Ledian's design quite a bit. But Ledybah, just, I don't know. Maybe I do. Looking at them now, their designs are pretty nice. I won't lie. Definitely better than a lot of other Pokemon that I can think of. I'm going to give Ledybah, like, maybe here. I'll even give it higher, like that. That's probably good. And Ledian, I actually really like the design of. They kind of look like a Power Ranger a little bit, or like some sort of like space fighter. And I think for an early game Pokemon, that's actually like a really creative sort of design. And for that, I'm going to give them a B tier, maybe like there. I think that's good. I've never used one. But a Pokemon that I have used and I am very, very fond of is Spinarak and Ariados. Spinarak, not the best, right? Just kind of like a very weak Pokemon. But with that being said, I do like the colors. And it's pretty cute, right? For a spider. You wouldn't really think a spider would be very cute, but if I saw one of these, I would pick them up. I don't know. I'm going to give Spinarak a C tier. Maybe like here. Yeah. Or no, let's do top of C even. I like Spinarak a little bit. And now Ariados is a Pokemon that is really near and dear to my heart. I've used them on many teams. I know they're not the strongest, but I just like them. I like having one on my team. I find it to be a really kind of creative addition, right? And you can use it as like a poison setter and sort of like an off-type kind of Pokemon. And I'm just a big fan. I'm honestly a really big fan. And probably controversial. It's going to go where Beedrill went, up in the S tier. Those are my two big bugs that I really like, Beedrill and Ariados. There's a few more that I really like too, but I like Ariados a lot. What can I say? I think they're going to end up being kind of at the bottom of S tier, but that's okay. Now, I mentioned in the Kanto Gen 1 tier list that Zubat and Golbat were kind of really lame, and I didn't really have anything nice to say about them, but I mentioned that when we got to the final evolution, Crobat, I was going to have a lot of great things to say. And I love Crobat. I think that its design is maybe one of the biggest upgrades, like ratio-wise, from one evolution to the other. Golbat is just so ugly and weird-looking and making the soy face. And then we just get this, like, real Intimidator with Crobat. And they're so fast, and they're just such an addition to your team whenever you can get one. I'm absolutely going to put Crobat in the S tier, even above Ariados. It's just a great Pokemon to have, right? I think it has a really great design, and it's just amazing to have whenever you're able to on your team. So Chinchou, and Lantern are two Pokemon that I actually really like the design of. I think that Chinchou, maybe even more so, which is kind of weird for me. I usually like the later evolution, but I think the cool antennae mandible things make it look really cute with the eyes, right? Just kind of looks like a weird, I would maybe even expect this Pokemon to be Ghost, the first one, right? Not the evolution. But I like the design of this one a lot. I'm going to give it an A tier, B tier, maybe like there. And I don't hate Lantern's design either, but I don't think it's quite as good as this one, so I'm going to put it like there. That's probably good. I think that's probably good. I'm not even going to demote it to like there. That makes a lot more sense to me. So we've got Pichu, and I don't really have a lot of good stuff to say about Pichu. I won't lie. He's cute. I think he's all right, but I don't think he's anything amazing. I like the other two evolutions much, much more than Pichu. And for that, I'm going to put Pichu in C tier. Let's do there. I think just the strong design carries it, even if I'm not that big of a fan. So we've got Cleffa, and Cleffa is another Pokemon that I'm not really a huge fan of. I like Clefable, and I like the other evolutions, right? But Cleffa not so much. And for that, I'm going to give Cleffa... I'm not a big baby Pokemon fan, barring a couple. I'm going to give Cleffa like there. There. That looks good to me. Now, Igglybuff is a Pokemon that I really can't stand, right? Their sprite in the Gen 4 games with those like blood red eyes, it really kind of creeps me out, right? Like this picture makes it look at least a little bit cute. I don't think this Pokemon is cute at all. I think that it is unnerving, and I really don't like it whatsoever. And for that, it's going to be the first F tier of the list. Not a fan at all. I would never have one on my team unless I was trying to evolve it. And evolve it quickly, I would do. So we've got Togepi, and Togepi is the Pokemon that you get out of the egg in all of the Gen 4 games, right? And I think they're okay. I think that aside from, contrary to Croconaw, this is actually a Pokemon that kind of looks like cute coming out of the egg, right? But with that being said, I'm not huge on it, and I'm certainly not huge on its evolution. However, I am very, very fond of its final evolution, but we'll have to get to that another day, right? So, Togepi... I mean, Misty's got it right. That's a really cute Pokemon. I have to give it kind of high marks for the anime appearance and it being pretty cute overall. I'm going to let's put it there, honestly. We'll do B tier. Maybe let's do that. I think that's good. And this one is Togekick? Togekick? I've never known how to say it right. Togetic, and it looks like a middle evolution in the sense that it looks like it will become what it becomes later with the big one, the one that I like much more. But with that being said, I don't really like its like kind of fat lower body. It looks awkward is how I would describe it. And I don't really think I like it quite as much as Togepi either. So I'm going to put it like there. I think that's a good spot for it. Okay, so we've got Natu and Xatu. I can't remember the order. I think, Natu's the little one. And I do like that, this is such a big part of Will's team, the first Elite Four member, kind of giving it this like air of prestige a little bit. With that being said, though, this one, Natu, oh, my cat is here. Hello, cat. Natu is a Pokemon that it looks like I could like eat it, right? And I'm not even talking about like Chikorita in the sense of like I've seen a video of someone eating or preparing one. It's just so small, right? Get out of here, you cat. I promise I'm not that girl streamer who threw their cat. I just gently placed him on the ground. But we've got... Oh, you're back already. What the heck? Look at this cat. He's pretty cute, right? As long as I can see the video, I can keep going. The tier list. So Natu, it's literally like it could fit in the palm of my hand, and I feel like I would eat it. But I do like their design, They're kind of like abstract sort of look to them, especially in the evolution. I don't know. Let's give Natu like maybe there, and Xatu can get a B tier maybe like there. Yeah, that looks right to me. This cat is going crazy. And I'm distracted when I'm getting to literally my favorite Pokemon of all time, right? So anyone who knows me knows that Ampharos is at least been historically my favorite Pokemon. Every time I play vanilla HDSS, it is the Pokemon that I will always have on my team no matter what. I love equipping it with the elemental punches. I think that's such a really cool... I know that's like not effective because he's a special attacker, but whatever. Oops. But Ampharos is absolutely my either first, second, or third favorite Pokemon even today. Oops. And I think that the other two evolutions actually are really good as well. So this cat is crazy. I'm gonna give Mareep, who I think has a very strong design. I think they all have strong designs. I'm gonna give Mareep an A tier, maybe like below them. Flaffy is, I think, just continuing on the great design. I love the sort of cloud swirls, right? Gear 5 ass hair there. Cat, please. I'm going to give Flaffy just behind Mareep. I think I just like Flaffy a little bit less than Mareep. And let's get the mic back a little bit. And we're going to give Ampharos the absolute top honors. And I'm not sure that it's going to be trumped in this whole list. I love in the Olivine Lighthouse with Palu Palu, Sparky, the one that powers the lighthouse, the Ampharos, and you have to get its medicine. I think that is a really sort of, cute little quest that you have to do for one of my favorite gym leaders as well, for Jasmine, right? That's her name, right? This cat is insane. So we've got Blossom, and Blossom is, I don't really have a lot of good stuff to say about them, I won't even lie. They're very small. They look like a hula dancer. They're even doing the hula dancing. And I don't really like them. Well, I don't hate them either. I think they're definitely like a C tier. Let's do this one. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. No, that's a good spot. So Meryl and Azumarill are they the first example of like a Pikachu 2? Maybe a little bit, right? I kind of just have like mixed feelings, or maybe I don't really even feel anything at all about them. I think their designs are pretty strong. I like Azumarill's sort of like bubbly situation here with the flapped over ear. That's cute. Oops. Oh, wait, I wanted to have it all. Oh, whatever, it's fine. So let's see here. Meryl, Lyra's got one. I always play. Some games I'll play as the girl, but I always play as Gold in Heart Gold, Soul Silver. And Lyra's always got the Meryl, which I think is pretty cute. I'm going to give Meryl a B tier, maybe like there. And I like Azumarill a little bit more, so maybe like there. That makes sense. So Sudowoodo is awesome, right? I love Sudowoodo. Even just look at his little guy right here, right? He has so much like sass, and he's just like so ready to go, right? And, obviously Sudowoodo's big claim to fame in the games is that he is blocking your way to Ecruteak City, and you got to hit him with the squirt bottle, right? And that whole encounter is like so funny to me. It's so iconic in the games, I feel like. And Sudowoodo is just really cool. So I'm going to give them an A tier. Like, maybe even very top of A tier. I rock with Sudowoodo quite a bit. Continuing with Pokemon I rock with Politoed, right? Politoed is the sort of alternate evolution. We've got a couple of those in this list. Alternate evolution to the Poliwag line. And I like Politoed as much as I like Poliwrath. And I think that puts him in A tier. So for that, I'm going to put Politoed just behind Sudowoodo. I think that makes sense. So we've got Hoppip, Cherim, and Jumpluff, right? I think those are their names. They don't really do much for me. I like Jumpluff a lot. I think that Jumpluff looks at least unique with these three like cotton ball things going on, but these two just look like grass types that I would never use, even though I have always said that I would be a grass type gym leader. So let's put Hoppip in D tier, like there. Let's put this one even lower. Cherim, I think its name is. I could be wrong about that. Put that one there. And then Jumpluff. Jumpluff's okay, I guess. I'll give him a C tier, maybe like there. That looks right. That looks right to me. I'm going to move Pichu up a bit. I feel like I'm disrespecting Pichu. Let's do that. Still C tier, but a little bit higher. So we've got Apom, and Apom is a Pokemon that I do enjoy. I enjoy its evolution a lot more than I enjoy it. With that being said, though, I still like Apom. I'm not really a big monkey guy in real life. I don't really like monkeys, but Apom, you ain't so bad. I'm going to give them a B tier, maybe low B, like there. That looks good to me. So Sunkern and Sunflora are, in my opinion, some of the worst Pokemon of this generation. Specifically, Sunkern looks very weird with its eyes. I don't think it's cute at all, and it kind of unnerves me. So I'm going to put it in F tier above the worst Pokemon of this whole generation, Igglybuff. Sunflora just kind of looks really derpy, right? I'm not going to say that I really despise Sunflora, but all the same, it's still going to get a D tier, maybe just below Ladybug. So this is Yanma, and I've never actually used a Yanma on my team. I feel like people sing its evolution's praises quite a lot, but I've never used one, and its design is pretty cool though, with the airplane looking wings with the stripes. I don't hate it. I really don't hate it. I'm gonna give it a C tier, maybe low C, just above Meganium. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so Wooper and Quagsire are two Pokemon that I never really would have thought that much about. I feel like I just never really used them on my teams growing up or anything. However, I really like this Heart Gold Let's Play by Lucajin, is the YouTuber. She's a VTuber now. It was before she became a VTuber. But I really like her Heart Gold Blind Let's Play. And in it, she catches a Wooper and names it Mr. No Arms. And it's one of her most iconic Pokemon, right? And the moment where it evolves and gets arms is just very funny to me. So with those things considered, I'm gonna give these two a little bit of a boost for sure. I'm gonna give Wooper a C tier, maybe there, and I'm gonna give Quagsire a B tier. I feel like I probably would have given Quagsire a B tier just because he looks so happy, right? He looks like he's got such a good vibe to him. I'm gonna put him there. I think that's good. Okay, so we've reached the two evolutions of the generation. Originally, there was just the Fire, Water, and Electric, and now they added Psychic and Dark. And I mentioned in the Gen 1 tier list that Jolteon was my second favorite, and there was one that was going to be coming that was my third favorite, and that one is Espeon. I really like Espeon's design a lot. I love the sort of four-ear thing going on with the twin tails. It just looks like it would be a menace, and the one example I can think of in the games, I'm sure you know what I'm thinking about, is the Kimono Girls gauntlet that you have to run before you can catch the legendary, right? And this thing with Psychic will absolutely sweep you if you're not ready. So Espeon, for just having such an amazing design, I'm going to give it... You see, the thing is, I want to keep it relative, right? I think I only put Jolteon in A tier, which means I have to put Espeon in A tier as well. Because I think my list goes one that we're going to get to later, Jolteon, Espeon, and then the rest. So I can't put Espeon in S tier, even though I might be tempted to right now, because I'm trying to keep the two lists consistent, right? So we've got Umbreon here, and Umbreon is one that I see gets a lot of praise. I've built them in pixel art in Minecraft a couple times. I will say, though, that Umbreon, I'm not as big of a fan of. They're pretty low on my list, right, overall. My cat just walked away, okay. I still like them a lot. I mean, they're going to get A tier, for sure. But I do think that they are maybe just lower on my evolution list than most people would have them. I'm going to put Umbreon, here. That looks good to me. They're, very fantastic design, very sleek looking. I'll put him above Politoed, honestly. Even above Sudowoodo. Let's just keep them together, kind of similar to how I had it in the first video. And that they deserve it. Umbreon deserves it. So Murkrow, and then we're going to get to Misdreavus in a minute, are two Pokemon that I enjoy, but I really enjoy their evolutions a lot more than them. Murkrow is obviously really funny in the Team Rocket hideout when he's saying the password and you have to like chase him around. I like that a lot. He still has a cool design. I like his hat, and that obviously gets carried into the next evolution. I'm gonna put Murkrow in A tier, like maybe like there. That looks really good. And I'm gonna do Misdreavus first here because they're kind of sister Pokemon. Misdreavus. Another fantastic design. I love the beads and the sort of flowing multicolored hair. It looks very cool. I do think that I like its evolution a lot more though. So I'm going to put Misdreavus in A tier, maybe there, I think. I don't know which one of these two I really like more. I'm going to do that for now. I'd say they're probably about tied, honestly. Now, Slowking. I mentioned in the first tier list that I wasn't really too big of a fan of Slowbro. I am a fan of him, but I'm not like a ride or die Slowbro fan. I am, however, a ride or die Slowking fan. I love, he looks befitting of a king with his seashell crown, and he looks so smug, and he hits like a truck too. I feel like when I have him on my team, he's just so powerful. It's a little bit hard to get, you have to trade with the stuff to get one, but when you do get one, he's awesome. I'm going to give him an A tier, like right there is good. He might even deserve S, honestly. Let me look. Let me look here. Yeah, I'm going to... No. He's staying right there. I'm a little conflicted, but he's staying right there. Okay, oh my god, the tier list is breaking. So Unknown is a Pokemon that I have very mixed feelings on. You know what I mean? It's like such a creative and cool gimmick, but you would never ever use one on your team. But with that being said, I do like their addition to the lore, right? And their presence in the game is something that I consider positive. But I can't, for the sake of me, give them like a ridiculously high score or anything. So I'm just going to give them like a C tier. I'm really kind of showing you how much I don't like Meganium by putting Unknown above Meganium, but that's what we're going to do. Now, Wobbuffet is awesome, right? I love that they always cause Team Rocket chaos, and I love that the female version just has lipstick, and that's the only difference. And they're just so funny to me, right? You can't use them. They're unusable Pokemon, but they are so funny, and they always cause such mischief in the show, and they have a really funny design. I'm going to give Wobbuffet a B tier, I think. Let's put them like there. There's probably good, I think. Girafarig is another Pokemon that I never really would have used, even though they are pretty strong. But that Let's Play that I really like, the Lucagen one, she's got one in that, and she treats, it's like maybe her favorite of the whole team. So that sort of gives it a boost for me. But I'm not massive on Girafarig, right? Oh my god, the tier list. I'm going to put Girafarig in B tier, like maybe here. Yeah, that looks good. High B tier, I think, is a good spot. Now, we've reached Pineco and Fortress. And Fortress is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, for sure. He is such a unique, weird, sort of quirky Pokemon in a good way, right? Just so unlike anything else in the first two generations, and I love having one on my team. I love headbutting a tree, getting Pineco, training it up, right? Pineco really is just a pine cone with eyes, so I'm going to give Pineco a C tier for that. Maybe like, probably pretty low too, maybe like that. But Fortress is easily one of my favorite Pokemon of all. Absolutely going to get an S tier just behind Ampharos. That is a given for me. Now, Dunsparce is another meme Pokemon, kind of how Magikarp is, right? It's kind of just like the useless Pokemon, and that's like its whole point. It doesn't really endear me like Magikarp does, I'm going to be honest. A lot of people like him. A lot of people think he's like the secret to everything. But not me. I'm just not a fan, right? So I'm going to give Dunsparce a D tier. D for Dunsparce. Right there. So Gligar is a Pokemon that I am a big fan of, right? I like Gligar in themselves, and I absolutely adore their evolution. I've used them on my team plenty of times. They've have a very unique type combo, very cool. And look at how he's taunting you. He's got his tongue out. He's like bleh. I'm a big fan of Gligar. Easy A tier. Even I'm gonna put them here. I think. Yeah. I really like them a lot. So Steelix is, in my opinion, a big step up in quality from Onix. I can't remember where I put Onix. Maybe C tier, B tier, C tier. I like Steelix a lot. He just looks very intimidating, right? And that's kind of his purpose. And for that, I'm going to give Steelix an A tier. Strong design, strong Pokemon. So an A tier for you. Maybe like right there is good. I hate these two, man. I hate these two. Granbull and Snubbull are two Pokemon that they're just wrong to me, right? For one, I think the design does get a little bit better. Like this Snubbull, I think is this one, is going to be an F tier for sure. Put that there. I want to kick it, right? I want to just, see the field goal in front of me and just put it through the posts, right? And I do think the design gets better with Granbull, but with that being said, I have lost a lot of Nuzlocks early in the run to Granbull, and it's made me not like them, right? It made me upset at them. And I don't think their design is good either. It's a little bit better, but it's nothing crazy. I'm going to put Granbull in D tier, maybe like there. That's probably good. Now, Quillfish is a Pokemon that I don't really understand the purpose of. I think you can use it as like a poison setter, but its design is really ugly with its lips, and it's really weak, and it just seems to really serve no purpose. And for that, I'm also going to give it an F tier. I'll give it the top of F tier, though, because it's not as egregious as these three. All four of these are like baby Pokemon. What does that say? I actually like some of the baby Pokemon, as you'll see. Now, Scizor. Scizor is awesome. I already like Scyther a lot. I think I put them in A tier. Scizor is pushing S tier. I think their design is awesome. They just seem like a Pokemon an Elite Four would have, or like the 8th gym leader would have as their ace, right? They exude that kind of energy, and they're just very strong too. I'm a sucker for bug types, I love Scizor. Here's what I'm going to do to kind of break this up a little bit. I'm going to put Scizor above Umbreon and below Espeon. That just feels right to me. And it kind of shows that I like Umbreon just a little bit less. So we've got Shuckle. Now, Shuckle is a Pokemon that I think is really funny. He has a pretty cool design, and he has a lot of quirks about him. Like, isn't he like insanely fast or insanely slow? It's one of the two. And I just find him to be really funny. I think that he has a very... I would never use one on my team, right? But he is very quirky and in a good way. I like Shuckle. I'll give him a B tier. Maybe like lowish B, like maybe like here. It's probably good. Now, Heracross is a Pokemon that I've used countless times. I'm sure you have as well. Bug fighting type, extremely good stats, and a little bit of a glass cannon, I think, but is always just going to be a great addition to your team. And for the amount of times that I've used them and their appearances in the anime, and just being so strong for a single evolution, I'm going to have to give Heracross an S tier, excuse me. I'm going to put them just above Ariados there in the S tier. Sneasel is a Pokemon that I do enjoy. It's a little similar to Gligar in the sense that I enjoy the first evolution, but I enjoy the evolved form much, much, much more. And However, I do not like Sneasel as much as I like Gligar. I don't dislike them either. I think that, you find them on the way up to red, and I think you might find Weevil too, but they're like a strong dark ice type, right? Just a good Pokemon to have. But with that being said, I'm not like super duper into them, so I'm going to give them a B tier. Probably pretty high B tier, maybe like there. Yeah, that looks good. So Teddy Ursa and Ursaring are two Pokemon that I like them, They're not really standouts in the crowd or anything, just being like normal types, but I've used an Ursaring once or twice, and they're good, And I think Teddy Ursa is an example of an actually really cute Pokemon, right? A lot of Pokemon try to be cute. These abominations, these three, well, I don't know about Snubbull, but at least these two, and some of these other ones, and they don't really hit the mark at all. But I think Teddy Ursa actually does hit the mark big time. They have a really cool like crescent moon on their head. Just a cute little bear, right? I'd like to hug them. So I'm gonna give both of them a B tier, probably there, and Ursaring maybe just that's cool. They can be together in B tier. So we've got Slugma and Magcargo. Slugma, I feel like I like Magcargo a lot, and I have used Magcargo a few times, and I really enjoy them. Slugma, I'm neither here nor there on. I think they're pretty cool, but how cool can you be for literally just being like lava, right? Like a lava slug? That actually sounds pretty cool, but I don't know. Let's do like maybe very lowest B for Slugma, and then A for Magcargo. I'm a big Magcargo enjoyer, to be honest with you. Let's do that. That looks good. So we've got Swinub and Mamoswine, right? And I like Mamoswine a lot. I do not like Swinub at all. I've used Mamoswine and its evolution a few times, and I am a big fan. However, Swinub is just kind of really ugly, and I'm going to put them in D tier for being just really, really bad in the design category. However, I do like Mamoswine a lot, and I have used them before. They look very silly. I'm going to put them in A tier, probably low-ish A, like maybe that is good. No, let's do bottom of A. Corsola is a Pokemon that is kind of another one where I don't really feel like it serves any purpose. I think Misty has them, or one of the characters in the anime has Corsola. And they look cool, with their like coral like things sticking out of them, but I don't know. I can't really say too many good things about Corsola. I'm going to give them high D tier. We've got Remoraid and Octillery, and sort of a common theme, right? With the first generation being kind of so-so, and then I actually really like the second generation, the evolutions, excuse me. I'm going to put Remoraid in D tier alongside Swinub, and I'm going to put Octillery... I'll put Octillery behind Mamoswine. I think that makes sense to me. Now, Delibird is a Pokemon that I actually really love the design of, and I would never use them on my team, obviously. They're not very strong, but they have the present ability, which I think is really funny. They're just a really quirky kind of... And they do stand out. Like how Ursaring doesn't really stand out. I think Delibird definitely stands out as a very unique and kind of weird Pokemon. I like their design a lot. I'm going to put them in B tier. Probably, I'm going to put them very top of B. I think Delibird deserves that. Does that make sense to me? Yep. So we've got Mantine, right? Am I getting that right? Very cool design. I love the little Remoraid here. I like their design a lot. I think that they just look like a cool sea creature, right? There's nothing really wrong with them in any case, and for that, I think they deserve an A tier, maybe? We'll just say... No, yeah, A tier. I'm just going to do bottom of A. Maybe above Octillery and these two. That looks good. Skarmory is a Pokemon that I know everybody really, really loves, and you probably expected me to put it in S tier, but I think it misses the mark on S tier, It's a strong Pokemon. It has a really strong design, but I can't really say I've ever used one on a team. With that being said, though, I don't have a lot of complaints. I think their design is great. I think they're a strong Pokemon. I've never really used him on a team, and I just think that those two positive factors aren't quite strong enough to push it. Oh no. Wait, where did he go? Not quite strong enough to push it into S tier, but I do think it is an A tier Pokemon, maybe above Steelix. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, Houndour and Houndoom are two Pokemon that I'm a fan of. I like that Archer, the Team Rocket boss in the second game, has them and has Houndoom as an ace. They really do feel like a sort of final bad guy Pokemon, right? With that being said, I have used Houndoom on my team at least once that I can think of. And it's just a really strong fire dark type, right? That's a really strong combo, and they are a really strong Pokemon. I love their design. I like Houndour's design, how it gets the horns. I think that is a really cool, and like the demon tail is like a really cool kind of touch that makes it really feel kind of like an evil Pokemon almost. Houndour, I'm going to give an A tier, low A, maybe like here. And I'm really tempted to give Houndoom S. I think I'm going to give it top of A behind Gligar. That looks good to me. Now, I did a lot of mentioning in that first tier list, that Kanto tier list. And one thing that I mentioned was that Seadra and Horsey were all right, but when the final evolution came around, that was really when it was going to, pop off for me. And I do love Kingdra. I can't remember if I've ever used one on my team, but just the fact that they're Claire's ace, and Claire is one of my favorite gym leaders, and that is just sort of like a climactic encounter in my favorite Pokemon game, that I have to give Kingdra high marks. With the Hydro Pump, it is an intense moment for sure. I'm going to give him an A tier. Let's do between Gligar and Houndoom. That makes sense. Now, Fanfi and Donphan are two Pokemon that I actually really like, and I also think that they dodge the curse of the first evolution being weak. I think that Fanfi is actually really cute, another really cute Pokemon that evolves into a Pokemon that I've used a few times, in Donphan. And I just like them both. I think they both have really good designs, and I have used them before. And for that, I think they're both going to get A tier. Let's do, maybe there for Fanfi, and then, maybe there for Donphan. I think that looks good. Yeah, that looks good. So is this Porygon Z or Porygon 2? One of the evolutions, right? And I mentioned in the first tier list that I love this line. I think that they're really creative, the tech vibe is pretty cool. And they're really strong, Assuming that this is Porygon 2, which I think it is, I think Z might come later, I'm going to put them in A tier. I think they're both going to end up in A tier anyway, but let's do maybe like that. Yeah, that's good. Let's even do that. I like their sleek design a lot. That's good. Now, Stantler is a Pokemon that I do not like at all, right? I don't like their face. They have that ball sack face, and it's always kind of been really weird to me. I will say that they are very threatening in early game Nuzlocke because I think they have Stomp or something, and that is a really strong move. But overall, I am not a fan. There's another deer Pokemon that's going to come way down the line that I like much more. I'm going to put Stantler in D tier, maybe yeah, that's probably good. Now, I always forget the name of this one. It's Smeargle, and it always makes me think of Smeagol from Lord of the Rings when I remember their name. They have a very strong design, but I've never used one on my team. I don't think I ever will. But they're a very creative Pokemon, right? And for that, I'm going to have to give it a C tier. I don't really feel amazing about them, but I do think their design is very unique, and that gives it some big points, I think. Maybe there. So we've got Tyrogue and Hitmontop, the furthering of the Hitmons, right? And without a shadow of a doubt, Hitmonchan is my favorite of the three. I like Hitmontop maybe as much as I like Hitmonlee, so I think that puts him in A tier. Let's put him up there. Maybe maybe like there is good. And Tyrogue is a Pokemon that I don't really like the design of at all. It looks like a little boy in sort of a weird way with his like clothes and stuff. But I do like that it's a grappler, right? I like that he's in the wrestling stance. I think that's really cool, and it gives it big props for me where it might not for other people. I'm just going to put Tyrogue in C tier. I think it has a lot that I like about, or it has stuff that I really like about it and stuff that I really don't like about it. So I think C tier is probably a good place. Maybe like there. Now Smoochum. I said that Igglybuff was the worst Pokemon in the generation. I think that Smoochum is the other one that I really, really don't like. It's just weird, right? It's just really weird. I don't have much to say, but I'm going to put it just above Igglybuff, but they're pretty much tied for the worst in the whole generation. We've got Elekid. And Elekid is my other friend's favorite Pokemon, and I'm also a big fan. The plug in the head is just funny, right? And he looks so ready to go. And I also love his evolution line, right? When we get to them, they're going to be ranked extremely high. So I'm going to put Elekid in A tier, probably like maybe like there. That makes sense to me. And same with Magby. You know, I like Magby themselves less than Elekid, but I love the evolution line. I don't think Magby's bad, but these two Pokemons, their 3-step lines are absolutely some of my favorite in the whole series. Magby's going to get an A tier too, but I'm going to say quite a bit lower. Maybe like there is good, or even there. I have to sneeze, but it's not coming. All right, we're getting down to it now. We've got Miltank, and you all know what's up with Miltank. You know about Whitney. You know about Rollout. I don't need to repeat it all. What a battle, right? What an early game battle for vanilla players. And I don't like its udders. I really don't. The udders are kind of... I think there's a scene in the anime where a Pokemon is actually drinking from one of the udders, and that just horribly unnerves me, right? But for being such an iconic Pokemon for that battle, and I don't think it has a bad design besides the udders, I'm going to give it a B tier. Let's say maybe like that. That's good. That's good. Now, Blissey is the evolution of Chansey. And I mentioned that I really like Chansey. I love the sort of like pacifist tank vibe that they give off. It's like so funny to me that it just takes so much to kill them, right? Or to KO them, but they just look so derpy and so like innocent. I'm a big fan. I'm going to give Blissey an A tier. I think it's where I also put Chansey. So let's do like there. All right. We're on to the legendaries and mythicals. So, or legendaries, mythicals, pseudo-legendaries, you know. We've got the 3 dogs. Now, my orientation for these is going to be Suicune is better than Entei is better than Raikou. I've always thought that Entei has a really strong design, but it gets points knocked off for that really weird movie where the girl had daddy issues for Entei. Kind of weird, right? Just kind of made me uncomfortable even since I was a kid. Raikou has a really good design. I just kind of think it's the weakest of the 3, and he's kind of the most forgettable of the 3. And Suicune is absolutely, maybe on design alone, the best Pokemon of all time, in my opinion. It's sort of just elegant the way the purple hair flows and the wisps kind of go at the side. It is, I think, of any Pokemon in the whole series, the one that is most deserving of the legendary title. So with that high praise, I'm going to put Suicune in second place, just behind one of my all-time favorites, Ampharos. Suicune's one of my all-time favorites too, don't get it twisted. Raikou, I'm going to give a lower A tier. It's still really good, right? Maybe like a mid-A, maybe like that. It's got the cool starfish on its face too. I like that too. Maybe like that. And then Entei is going to get like top of A, like that. I think is good. I do love all 3. I even love Raikou, despite me maybe insulting him by what I've done here. I do like him. I think Entei's design is just really, really strong. And then Suicune is just absolutely one of the GOATs, right? Okay. Pupitar is this one. Larvitar, Tyranitar. This is going to be extremely controversial, y'all. This is a fan favorite. I know it is for everybody. But I'm not a huge fan. I'm going to be honest. I don't dislike them by any means. They're not going to D tier or anything. But I just don't like them in the way that everybody else likes them. There are other Pokemon in this class that I like a lot more. Pretty much every other pseudo-legendary I am a bigger fan of. So, with that being said, I'm going to put Larvitar in C tier, maybe like, yeah, I think that, like there. Pupitar even lower in C tier. I know, but the point of Pupitar is obviously that it's in the cocoon, right? So I can't knock it that much. Maybe like there, or even there. And of course, I have to give Tyranitar credit, right? It's an awesome design. He's an absolute powerhouse. He's going to get an A tier. I can't, like, not give him an A tier in conscious mind, right? Let's put him, like, there. I think that's probably good. I've used them before, and of course they're amazingly powerful and they look awesome, but I simply like the other pseudos more, and that's just how it is, right? And we'll get to those in future videos. All right, the two legendary birds. So I got Soul Silver on launch, and I've always been a Soul Silver enjoyer over Heart Gold. With that being said, though, I think I like these two about even. I think that the area in which you catch Ho-Oh in the games is much better with the beautiful sort of autumn forest that you're in. I mean, that's just one of the best areas in any video game, right? I think that Ho-Oh, you know, you see him at the beginning of the anime, and it leads to the whole, like, coma theory with Ash, right? Very funny. And then Lugia plays a really big role in, the second movie or the third movie? One of them? The second movie, I think. I would say I like them both about evenly, and they're both A tier. Maybe, like... I mean, I don't feel insanely about them, I'm going to be honest. Do I even like Raikou more than them? I think I just might. Let's do... This is tough. No, let's do above Raikou. Maybe just like that. I think that is probably a good sort of split for them. Just like mid-high A tier. And finally we have Celebi. And I love Celebi's design. I love the movie with them. Extremely emotional. I love their design. What else can I say, right? There was a mythic event or like a timed event where you could get one or something, and I remember I did that as a kid, and that was awesome. That's a great memory. I think that Celebi is absolutely deserving of the S tier. I think it has an amazing design and an incredibly emotional movie that is, in my opinion, better than the other Pokemon that have movies on this tier list. So let's do like there for Celebi. Okay, and that's that. We're still under an hour, so let's check this out. I'm surprised this took a little bit longer than the other one, which had, like, 50 more Pokemon? But maybe I just had a little bit more to say today, right? So let's as usual, let's organize the S tier. Is this correct? I'm going to move Heracross above Crobat. And yeah, I think that's correct. So my top only got 7 this time. I had 8 last time. My top 7 Pokemon in order are Ampharos at 1, Suicune at 2, Fortress at 3, Heracross at 4, Crobat at 5, Celebi at 6, and Ariados at 7th. And I think we had a little bit more down here, but I think overall we still had a really strong showing in A tier. I honestly think that the ratio might be kind of similar. I'll honestly have to take a look after I'm done recording, but I feel like we have a pretty strong... or a pretty even distribution in each of the tiers relative to how many Pokemon there are in each generation so far. So I expect that to change, though, with Gen 3 and 4. We'll see. As usual, thanks for watching, and tune in next week for another Tier List Tuesday. Catch you later.